Hello, my name is Gregorio De Loa Jr. I am presenting the quality of character trait of having a positive attitude. Let me begin with a little bit of background. The outward characteristics of an individual are what others can see, hear, smell, or touch. Traits such as freckles, a loud talking voice, or bad breath can cause others to create their own perceptions before they even get a chance to formally meet someone. That judgment often hinders one's chances of interacting with a person of character because our society has determined that what is on the outside is more important than the inner qualities that make up a person's character. The inner qualities of an individual are the characteristics that actually matter. Someone who does not have the best clothes or the most expensive car could potentially be the most trustworthy, caring individual we could have ever met. But simply because they do not look right, that judgment has already been passed and people miss that opportunity. We cannot see consideration, empathy, or respect, but they are some of the traits that define a person of good moral character. Can you imagine taking that kind of approach with Jesus? In Matthew 25, verses 36 and 40, he writes, "I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." In making that initial negative judgment of an individual, we miss positive interactions that could potentially be life-changing. We don't know what every day holds for us. Therefore, it makes the most sense to live our lives in the most positive way that we can. What does it mean to have a positive attitude? The dictionary definition of the term positive attitude can be defined as the following. Positive is indicating, relating to, or characterized by affirmation, addition, inclusion, or presence, rather than negation, withholding, or absence. Attitude is a mental position with regard to fact or state, or a feeling or emotion toward a fact or state. Now, as a dictionary definition, it's very formal sounding, as it should be. My personal definition of the term positive attitude is defined more by traits. Someone who lives with a positive attitude is optimistic. They can see the best even in the worst situations. They are constantly looking to grow and make themselves better. They don't settle for good enough, although they can be satisfied by their best efforts. They live by the motto, hard work pays off. They are empathetic to others and their situations, and of course they are positive. Not in a naive kind of way, oh, it'll work out, but understanding that there is always a positive side to any situation. Some quotes I found about having a positive attitude were, this stood out to me. This one's by John Wooden. "Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out." Another one was, "You can't live a positive life with a negative mind." In my presentation, I posted a video of a commencement speech by Denzel Washington. In it, he said something that resonated very strongly with me, and I'm going to quote him here. "Finally, I pray that you put your slippers way under the bed tonight, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have to get on your knees to reach them. And while you are down there, say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance of what is already yours." If that idea doesn't exemplify the idea of living with a positive attitude, then I don't understand what else would. In that one statement, he is saying to begin the day by saying thank you to Lord Jesus Christ. He doesn't know what his day will look like. He doesn't know if it is his last day on earth, but he is starting it out by saying thank you anyway, first thing in the morning. That statement exemplifies gratitude, optimism, expecting the best, and of course, positivity. I've worked out a few examples in athletics about viewing situations through a positive lens. In this first scenario, your team loses a match. Now, looking at it on a negative side, the team lost. In a positive light, however, if you were to glance down at your stat sheets, you would see that your team completed the highest percentage of passes that they've completed all season. Now, that's a quality effort. The negative would be looking at the game as a loss. The positive is that you noting your team is working hard, making improvements, and getting better all the time. In a second scenario, the team's leading scorer hasn't found the back of the net in the last 4 matches. Now, looking at that as a coach could be a bit disconcerting. Perhaps the defense have figured her out. Maybe the opponents are taking her out of the games or making her a non-factor. Maybe she's been slacking in training. Now, on the flip side, you also notice that in those 4 games, she has assisted or been involved in every goal the team has scored. That's a positive. She may not be personally finishing, but she is expanding her game. She is distributing to her teammates, sharing the scoring duties. People who live with a positive attitude understand that there is positivity even in the most difficult situations. For example, and this would be an example outside of athletics, at a funeral, generally is not a happy event. Clearly people are sad, people are mourning because somebody they loved is gone. A funeral can be a difficult situation, a somber event mourning the death of a loved one, or it could be a celebration of the life that person lived here on earth. As far as positive leadership in athletics, coaches can be one of the most influential figures in the life of an athlete. Their influence can continue long after the season ends. This implies that coaches have a moral responsibility to have a positive influence on their players. Coaches will impact their players, and it is up to them to decide whether the impact will be for good or not. This is not just a responsibility, but also an opportunity. What determines the nature of a coach's influence on athletes? There are many factors, but a primary one is the character of the coach. A coach must be a person of good character. They must display moral courage, compassion, humility, respect, honor, integrity, and a positive attitude. These are demanding traits, especially when our culture has been about winning at all costs and seeing opponents as enemies. Another quote I found from one of our textbooks goes like this: "One of the illusions of life is that the present hour is not the critical, decisive hour. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. No man has learned anything rightly until he knows that every day is doomsday." That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. This quote by Emerson from the book Teaching Character Through Sport by Bruce Brown stood out to me as I was researching. It really exemplified the idea of having a positive attitude in all that we do, whether it's related to athletics and life. It also brought to mind a few verses from the Bible, Matthew 24 verses 36 and 37, where Jesus states, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man." What I get from both of these is that living with a positive attitude will only serve to benefit us. The statement Emerson makes about every day being the best day of the year is perfect in summarizing the idea of positivity. We only get one life. There is no reason not to live as positive as possible. Even if you aren't a person who lives with Christian ideals, scientific data proves how much better quality of life is when we live with a positive attitude. Research has shown that living with a positive attitude or optimism is a tendency to expect good things in the future. It is apparent that optimism is an attitude that influences physical and mental health, as well as coping with everyday life. Through an adaptive management of personal goals and development, and by using active coping tactics, optimists are significantly more successful than pessimists in aversive events and when important life goals are impaired. Various studies have also shown that application forms of the optimism concept should be integrated into treatment and prevention programs in both mental and physical health to improve well-being. In conclusion, a positive attitude, optimism, seeing the best in all situations, and continuing to better oneself are not only important aspects of becoming a good person of moral character in both athletics and life, they help us to become better coaches, parents, teachers, and most importantly, better followers of Jesus. I'll leave you with this quote from Gandhi. Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior becomes your habits. And then keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. Okay, thank you so much.